Hello again. It's just another day in the life of a military wife. And today we are going to be discussing the New York subway and the Texas border. What do they have in common? Well, currently, it's the National Guard. Soldiers have been sent to both of these locations to help with maintaining order. And although there are similarities, there are many differences as well, and we will be discussing those in today's episode. As always, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you are listening to Life of a Military Wife. So, yet again, we are doing a current event episode. And I know that this may not feel completely current to those of you who have been following these situations, but basically, I'm covering what's going on in the world right now. With regards to, let's just start with Texas. So, Governor Abbott and basically the Texas government tried to pass a law giving the right to the police officers in Texas to arrest illegal immigrants. And then the law would also allow judges to then give them the authority to order those deemed to have entered our country illegally to leave the country. So there was some pushback from some courts about this. It was basically said that this wasn't legal, and the Biden administration did push back saying, no, this wasn't the purview of the governor to do this or the Texas government to be able to do this, that national security was a federal thing. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court, in a split decision, decided to allow that law to stand. So the Texas law was able to stand. As a result, Texas has increased its presence on the border. Now, several weeks ago in late March, there was an incident where a New York Times reporter was on the border and witnessed hundreds of illegal immigrants or individuals who were trying to push through the razor wire and fencing that have been put up by the Texas National Guard and by Texas to prevent entry. They were aggressively fighting, pushing in, tore it down, and then rushed National Guard troops, shoving and pushing them, trying to get into the country. They were detained and then released by Border Patrol. The United States Border Patrol released them into the United States. So that's just to start with. Others were arrested and actually sent to jail in El Paso County, Texas. And the judge there ruled over Easter that, they can be released on their own recognizance. So even though Texas is trying to do what it can to secure its border and has gone through the whole legal process of passing a law and establishing a rule of law, the federal government is just ignoring it by letting the illegal immigrants who attacked National Guard soldiers into the United States. What kind of message does that send? I just don't understand the logic behind that. If they are willing to attack U.S. soldiers, American soldiers, then are they going to respect the laws of our country once they're inside our country? And this wasn't just a handful of people. You can go and look at the YouTube video. There are quite a few individuals. It is a huge group. One report said hundreds. I'm not sure the exact count of how many individuals it was, but there was footage. Is this happening other places on our border? Are they attacking our border patrol? Do we have any information on that, specific information? Why would we allow individuals who are going to attack our Border Patrol potentially, or our soldiers, our National Guard soldiers for sure, with we have evidence they did it, into our country, to stay in our country. We've talked about the insane amount of illegal immigration that is happening through the United States. The largest section of the United States southern border is Texas border. Governor Greg Abbott, I don't always agree with everything he has done in this topic, but he has encouraged a rule of law to be established, an organized method to be established to stop and deal with this situation, to hopefully address this situation in an orderly manner. And as a result, the federal government was fighting him on it, and now his own judges are just letting these people go. Is this really what we want? Is this really the message we want to send? Do you feel comfortable with the knowledge that people who think it's okay to attack our military are being allowed to stay in our country, and in some cases are being given money? They're being paid to stay here. They're being given free cell phones, they're given free accommodations, they're taking over high schools to be housed for free, they're being given free food, all sorts of stuff. And I feel like that's disrespectful to all of those who have, through hardship and struggle and great monetary expense, done everything in their power to get here legally, to follow our laws. I feel like it shows a disrespect for those who have followed the process through all of the personal sacrifice that it has caused so that they can be here legally. But going back to the article that I was just referencing, 70 individuals were arrested. The judge released them. I don't know how many the Border Patrol released. Again, I've not seen any exact figures from anyone who's reported on this, but 70 is not a small number. It's not like 2 or 3 or 4. That's a lot of people who violently attacked our military and now are just being allowed to hang out in our country and get things for free. This isn't the end of it. The situation is going to be ongoing. So when I say this is a current events thing, yeah, it's current-ish, but it's not a problem that's going to go away quickly. So there will be more developments. One of the things that Governor Abbott has announced is that he will be establishing a National Guard base near the border to help house the National Guard members and maintain it so that they've got good conditions while they are trying to do their job. And I respect that. There has been many instances previously where guard troops have been used, or National Guard service members, soldiers, whatever you want to say, have been used, and there's not been a lot of forethought in how to adequately take care of their needs. And so they have been housed and maintained in rather ridiculously inappropriate accommodations. The fact that he is trying to think of a long term solution, it's sad that this is a long term problem he has to build a base for, but I respect the fact that he wants to treat his National Guardsmen with dignity and make sure their needs are being met. So, that is where we're going to leave the Texas border situation for now. Now we move on to New York. New York has been in the news for all sorts of reasons lately. Lots of them not so wonderful ones to do with crime. And in regards to crime in particular, there has been 4 homicides or deaths, killings, murders in the New York subway so far this year, at least according to the sources that I saw. And the most recent one was about a month ago. And in response to that, the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, said that she was deploying the New York National Guard to do security checks in the subway and to assist police officers. And in in regards to that, they are going to be doing random searches of belongings and different things like that, checking for weapons, drugs, things like that. And they've been doing that now for a while. Ironically enough, there were people who were upset about this, regardless of the deaths that have happened. There are people who don't think it's necessary. There are people who think it is necessary. I personally think that if you're having issues with law enforcement or security in your city, then you should be supporting your police department. Now, since then, the mayor of New York has sent down over 1,000 police officers into the subway, which is good. I'm glad that police officers are patrolling the subway. There's a slight issue. Since in the last couple of weeks, there's been a uptick in individuals reporting, all women that I'm aware of, but I could be mistaken, reporting being attacked coming out of the subway. It's great that we've got the National Guard trying to protect people in the subway, considering we've even had train conductors attacked and almost killed. Not we, but New York has had train conductors almost attacked and killed. So that's great, but obviously there's still crime issues, especially if women are being randomly punched in the face. And go check TikTok. It's a thing, people. I don't normally redirect people to TikTok, but that is the source that I heard of it from. I don't have a TikTok account. We all know that. Been there, done that. Okay, moving on. But that was where a lot of these videos were popping up, and that's how someone referencing the videos from TikTok was how I was made aware of it. That said, security is obviously an issue. The National Guard is still assisting down there, and it's hundreds of National Guards members down there. Now, they're not in every terminal, not in every station. That's the word I was looking for, but they are there. Now, Mayor Eric Adams has come out and said that he's going to work on upgrading security, that he's going to have like the TSA little beep thingies that will, not metal detectors, but basically that's body scanners. That's the word I was looking for. Body scanners that will be able to assess whether or not an individual is carrying a weapon. Okay, how much is that going to cost? How long is that going to take to deploy? How many people are you going to employ to run that? And are you going to have armed individuals present to take down any armed individual they encounter? So, great idea, but not a quick fix. And you know what? At least they're pursuing something. But I remember when those scanners were introduced for TSA post 9/11 and the uproar it caused and how many people got uncomfortable about them. I do know that there are medical situations in which people cannot go through those. So there is possibilities that there will be people who are not able to go through those checks. What are they going to do for those people? Are they just not going to be allowed to ride the subway anymore? What's the procedure going to be? Again, glad they're doing something. We have a military for a reason. We have a National Guard for a reason. We have a border patrol for a reason. We have a Coast Guard for a reason. We have all of these organizations have their speciality, their reason for existing. Doing police work in the subway, that's what police should do. Protecting our borders, that's what the Border Patrol should be allowed to do. So when these systems break down, you have to stop and look at why. You have to stop and look at what is going on. Why do the National Guard have to be on the border assisting Border Patrol? Now, this is not the first time, and I'm well aware that there has been many instances in which the National Guard has been asked to assist the Border Patrol for a wide variety of reasons over a wide variety of administrations. Typically, to my knowledge, most of those have come down from the federal government for various reasons. Usually it's filling in gaps. I think there was some assistance post 9/11. There was some assistance when they were putting up the border wall. There was some assistance with general security installations, processes, and such over multiple administrations, many times. It's not often that I am aware of that a governor is making a long-term plan to use their National Guard as Border Patrol. When we have these processes, when we have these organizations and they have their job and they're not able to, for a one reason or another, fulfill those jobs, yeah, sometimes we have to call in the Guard. These National Guard members have full-time jobs. They're not full-time active duty military. So they're being taken away from their families and their homes. That's why they need housing. That's a whole lot of extra expense. It costs more to deploy the National Guard to places where they are not from and maintain them there than it would be to adequately and effectively use the systems we already have in place. And cost just adds on to everything else we're paying for. Food for thought on those different situations. Maybe you were aware of some of those things. Maybe you were not aware of some of those things. As I researched for this episode, I encountered news articles and information I had not been previously aware of. Not all of these things are widely reported in the media, and so maybe you aren't aware about them. Maybe you think, hey, I'm not a New Yorker. I'm never going to New York. I don't really care what New York does. That's fine. I will say that it's good to be aware what's going on, even peripherally sometimes. With all of that said, there's a lot of crazy in this world, but there is also a lot of good. I'm going to work on keeping you guys informed. I'm going to keep working on bringing you guys a variety of topics. If there are topics that you are interested in having me cover, please reach out, let me know. I have all of the contact information where you can listen to the podcast as well as contact me to let me know if you are aware of someone in the military community that you think would be a good person to have on the show because they have expertise in a specific area that is helpful to the military community. Please let me know. Again, I like hearing from you guys. I like getting that feedback so that I know that these episodes that I am creating for you are helpful and are worthwhile. That said, I will not always be able to fit everyone in, so be patient. I will do my best. If I cannot get to a recommendation this year, maybe I will get to it next year. I have quite a few things on my plate. And it's just getting a little bit more crazy. The older that baby cuteness gets, the more time I am spending to supervise her because she is more mobile now, lots more mobile. That said, also, if there are any books or research studies that you would like for me to go over and review, please feel free to send those my way as well. I have a few that have been recommended by listeners that I will be getting to. I'm going to try to do a review or an interview, something of the like, every month, if possible. Both, but probably not both, but still, I'm working on those things. So thank you for your input. As always, this isn't my catchphrase alone. Someone else came up with it, but I'm going to borrow it. Be the good you want to see in the world. And with that said, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you're listening to Life of a Military Wife.